name is Lewis Butler. I'm with Iowa Wind and Solar. We're going to be doing a webinar today on the new adjustable block program, new policy that's rolling out in Illinois. We're going to talk about why this is great for your bank account. So before we dive in, we'll give people just a little bit more time to get in and make sure they're settled in, have their volume turned up here. If you need to get a hold of us before, during, after the webinar, you can go to our website, iowawindandsolar.com. We have a lot of great information on our website there. Even though our name is Iowa Wind and Solar, we've been in the Midwest working in a variety of states, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri. We're doing a lot in the Midwest, so feel free to reach out to us and we'll share all of our expertise with you. So iowawindandsolar.com, 1-800-8080-SUN. You can email us at bebright@iowawindandsolar.com. You can email me personally, Lewis Butler, LEWISBUTLER, at iowawindandsolar.com, and I'll try to reach out to you as quickly as I can. Today's webinar is going to be a little bit different than what we've done in the past. We have Lindsay over there, and Jake and Tom are remotely joining us via the internet, and they're going to be answering your questions you might have on the right-hand side of the chat today. They're also going to be doing a Q&A section at the very end. Jake and Tom have been there on the ground. They've been putting together proposals. They've been meeting with businesses and residents in Illinois, and we want them to share their experience directly with you. So I'm going to cover the content, and then they're going to cover all your guys' questions, and hopefully that enables us to focus on the content in case people are joining us after this has been recorded, but we'll also have captured all of your guys' questions on the back end of it, and give you guys a chance to meet some of our team here that we're really happy to be working with. So today's webinar, I'm going to give you a little bit of context about the history of policy in Illinois. Don't worry, it's not going to be too long or too crazy, just enough so you understand why this new program is pretty good. We're going to talk about the solar renewable energy credits, or SRACs, in the former marketplace. We're going to talk about the new adjustable block program. So whether you're putting solar on your home or you're thinking about putting on your business because you want to take advantage of that depreciation, we're going to talk about how the adjustable block program can specifically benefit you, how this is going to impact you, how quickly you might want to start thinking about solar, and then we're going to do that Q&A session that I just mentioned. So to kick it off, the state of Illinois has committed to produce 25% of its electricity via renewables by the year 2025. So this is often referred to as 25 by 25. I don't say it's common, but it's a common legislative theme that tends to come up over and over again. So Illinois is committed to this standard for the renewable portfolio, and they want to have 1.5% of this coming directly from solar. So if you have questions or you want to verify anything we've said today, the Illinois Power Agency actually has a lot of content online. So if you want to read these 100-page plus documents, please go do so. They're coming out all the time. Or just give them a call. We've called them at least once a week over the last month with questions. They're more than happy to answer them for you. Be sure to say thanks. The guys and gals over at the IPA really are great to get a hold of in case you have any questions. So how do these certificates work? They are tied to production of electricity. And so it produces energy. That's one way for them to earn these certificates. Another way for them to acquire these certificates is that you install renewable energy like solar, and then they'll pay you to take credit for the certificates or the renewable energy credits that you're producing from your array. And so it really is a win-win in the sense that you're used to paying out money to your utility company in exchange for the electricity that you're getting. Now what's happening is instead of you just sending money off to the utility company that you'll never see again, they're sending you money to install an array that you get to keep and you get to own. So once you pay it off, it's yours, you own the generation of that, and they're gonna pay you for the privilege of taking credit for your renewable energy credits. So it's really a wonderful thing if you're someone who is thinking about installing solar. So the utility is gonna pay you to produce solar, or to install solar, excuse me. The way this used to work, and the SRX used to work, is there's a marketplace. So these things would go out for bid. Basically, supply and demand would determine the price. So if the utility companies need to buy up a whole bunch of them and not very many people installed solar, the price would be relatively high. A whole bunch of people happened to install solar during a period of time, and the utility companies really didn't need that many renewable energy credits, the price would go down a little bit. The reason this created problems is, say you're a business and you're trying to take advantage and figure out what your rate of return is going to be, and you're trying to figure out what that payback period is going to be. So you're trying to say, how much am I going to save from utility bills? how much I'm going to save with the federal tax credit, how much of this do I get to depreciate, and then the last piece is how much are these renewable energy credits worth? And the best answer was, we'll have to wait and see, pretty much. It might be a range, but nothing was ever quite for sure. So the marketplace had these variable prices built into it, and the payment amounts would fluctuate. Or say you're a homeowner and you're trying to figure out, oh my gosh, how quickly is this thing going to pay itself off? What other investments might I want to make with my money? What is my utility bill going to look like? You wouldn't know what these renewable energy payments were going to look like, or how much money you're going to get for these credits. And so it was harder to predict how soon that payback period is going to be. Is it going to be 5 years? Is it going to be 7 years? Is it going to be 3 years? Kind of tough to tell. So luckily they have solved this problem with the new adjustable block program. It's improved this marketplace payment system. Payments are now fixed in their price based upon a few variables that we'll talk about in a second. So what are these variables? You're going to get paid based upon what block you're in. So the sooner you install solar, the more money you're going to get paid for its production. And it's going to be based upon your utility company. It's going to be based upon the size of the array that you put in. And it's going to be based upon how much energy it produces over the 15-year time span that they're paying you for these renewable energy credits. So the bigger your system is, the more energy it's going to produce, it's likely the more money that you're going to get paid. But they've tiered it to make it really attractive for homeowners and small utility scale projects to be installed. So as more solar is installed, they're going to move through the blocks, and that payment structure is going to move down. So once you've installed your array, what's going to happen is someone like us, like Iowa Wind and Solar, is going to submit an application for their approval. And in that application, as part of it, we're going to show them with lots of math and formulas how much we think that your array is going to produce over the next 15 years. So we'll take the installation size. We're going to talk about the degradation, how much those panels are going to degrade over this 15 years. We're going to submit that to them, say, based upon all of these variables, we expect this much electricity to be produced. And once and if they approve that, then you get paid based upon that amount. So the sooner you get it installed, the earlier block that you're going to be in, and the sooner you're going to get paid, and the more money that you're going to get paid. So gone are the days of these fluctuating prices. So this payback begins once your array is installed. So if you install 10 kW or under array, they're going to pay you out in a single sum once you get that array turned on. So if you're a residential customer and you're looking at solar, this is actually really great, especially if you do some really good financing options out there. We have a 12 months no payment option. So essentially you can get paid to install solar, you can reduce or eliminate most of your electric bill, and then you're going to be able to save on taxes for that first year before you have any payments due. So it's really great from a cash flow perspective. If your array is over 10 kW, your home is a little bit larger, you own a business, you're going to get 20% of that when the system is turned on, and then you're going to get that payment annually over the next 4 years, or essentially you're going to get 5 payments of 20%. When we give you a proposal, we'll have factored in what your production is going to be over that 15-year window. And so when we submit the application, they can pay you out that 20% each year, and it should be pretty predictable about what that's going to be once we have your system installed. So here's a chart of all of these different blocks that we've been discussing. In Group A, you have Ameren, Mid-American, a couple of other people. And what you'll see is that the smaller the installation, the more you're going to get paid for those renewable energy credits. And as the larger the system gets, that price is going to step down. And as those blocks go along, block 1, block 2, block 3, I think the price is going down by about 4%. So you're still going to get a really good payment from the IPA, but over time it's going to be going down. So if you're thinking about installing solar anyway, doing it sooner rather than later is going to give you the highest payment there. So you can see as the size goes up, payment factor goes down. And if you're in Group B, it's going to be something pretty similar. A thing to note here, as we are recording this, there's giant bold letters all over the draft versions of these proposals. These are just tentative prices that they have put in. None of these prices on this chart have been guaranteed in any way, shape, or form. If you call the IPA, this is going to be the first thing that you tell you before you ask any questions. We will tell you the same thing. The language is in our contracts. This is what they've put out there. This particular chart has been out since December. It's going through the rulemaking process. We're expecting that to be approved April 3rd or April 4th. After that, we're going to have a lot more predictability about what's going to happen. The only other caveat to all of this is currently some of the utility companies are engaged in a little bit of a legal battle with this, saying that the rural electric cooperatives should not be a participant in this adjustable block program. So if you're on a rural electric cooperative, you might want to ask whatever company that you're working with, even if it's not us, you should make sure you ask them whether or not they've actually been included in this adjustable block program. And that answer may not be available to you until sometime in mid-April. So we can come out for anyone in any of these blocks, even if you're on a rural cooperative. Solar still might make sense for you. But if it were me, what I would do is I would have us come out, do a proposal, get all of the engineering work done, which Tom and Jake are pretty eager to be talking about. And then once we know exactly what this policy looks like, we can update the numbers for you, and then you can be some of the first people on the installation schedule locking in that block 1 incentive. So if you have questions about this, put them in the chat right now. We'll answer them as quickly and as best we can. Tom and Jake and Lindsay are also going to have a lot of great information for you. So a few more little things to know about how utilities work, or specifically the energy market works in Illinois. It's a little bit different than Iowa. In Iowa, we have a regulated energy market. In Illinois, you have a deregulated energy market. So you have distributors, people who are generating power, and resellers, people who repackage it, or maybe they come around and tell you that they have a better rate than you can get from your transmission company, and they'll sell it to you. So this means whoever is providing the electricity might just be reselling electricity that they bought somewhere else. This is pretty common in Illinois. You can lock in pricing for 1 or 2 years, or maybe the rate's a little bit better than what you're currently getting. So many people do this. Sometimes this is a really great deal because you lock in low pricing. Other times it's a great deal for 6 months. Maybe it's a great deal for a year. Maybe they start sneaking in some fees. All this is going to matter because not all of these resellers are going to offer net metering. Net metering is going to be the policy that enables you to fully take advantage of the savings from installing solar. So distribution companies like Ameren, ComEd, they're required by law to net meter, but not all of these energy resellers are required to. So what net metering is during the summer, during a really bright sunny day, when your array is producing more than what your usage is, that energy needs to go somewhere. So it's going to get pushed back onto the grid. And with net metering, you're going to get credit for all the energy that's pushed back onto the grid. And then at night or during the winter, maybe a really cloudy day, maybe your usage is above what your array is producing, you're able to pull back down those credits and not pay for that electricity that you've stored up during this period of time. So it might be required for you to fully take advantage of all of these great financial benefits that you're going to get. So you might have to switch from your reseller back to one of these distribution companies. Even though the price per kilowatt hour might be slightly higher, it's not going to matter because if you size your array correctly to your usage, you should be banking those credits and taking those back off, and you shouldn't have an electric bill because of your usage. And there might be a couple of meter fees and taxes and other things, but the actual electricity that you're using is going to be offset in this method. So to recap, in Illinois, if you produce solar power, this program is going to pay you to install solar. New arrays are going to get paid the most. As time goes on, you're going to get paid less, so the sooner you adopt it, the better. The adjustable block program is going to ensure this price for you, so you aren't going to see fluctuations in price. You can plan a whole lot better, and the sooner you get started, the better. So whether you have a home, a garage, you have a hog confinement, you have a car wash, if you own a building, you have electric bill, you have tax liability, you should really take a look at the adjustable block program and the tax incentives and depreciation if you're a business, like Tom and Jake are going to tell you about here in a minute, about how this could be a really great deal for you. So I'm going to turn everything over to Lindsay to introduce Jake and Tom and herself to you. Be sure to be sure to ask a ton of questions of them. They're going to help you out as much as they can. I'll be answering questions there on the side. Without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Lindsay over here, and she's going to take great care of you. Let us know if you have any questions.
Thanks, Lewis. I'm Lindsay, sales coordinator here at Iowa Wind and Solar, and we have Jake and Tom online with us. They are renewable energy consultants that work for us in the Quad City, and they have been out presenting proposals to people interested in going solar. Hi, Jake and Tom. How's it going?
Good. How's it going, Lindsay? Good.
Going well. So we just heard you talking about the adjustable block program, and he mentioned that it was a really good deal. Can you guys tell us about the proposals you're seeing when presenting and why and how it's such a good deal?
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing the adjustable block payments work out to be about between 30 and 50% of the cost of the array. When you add that on top of 30% from the federal government, and the ability to use depreciation if you're a commercial entity, it turns out to be a really good deal. The adjustable block alone is going to send you, like Lewis said, payments over the next 5 years, 20% per year, if you have a large enough array, anything over 10 kW. So anything like that, 10 kW gets an immediate payout. When you're seeing the Illinois Power Agency pay for sometimes half of it, turns out to be a really good deal.
Awesome, thanks. We had someone ask a question. Ted asked a question. An example of the block pricing and how it's calculated through the business would be helpful. So can you guys just talk about what this looks like from a commercial entity perspective?
Yeah, definitely. The commercial entities are seeing, like I said, upwards of the 50%. It's going to show a payback period that looks like sometimes a break-even point at 0 years, all the way up to a couple years. But especially for the commercial, we're seeing under a year a lot. So works out real well.
So what if someone's business is out of their home? Can they still take advantage of?
Most definitely. A lot of times, we'll do what's called a PPA, and a business owner can actually install on their home and still be able to take advantage of, the Illinois adjustable block payments as well as the federal taxes, but they can also use the depreciation, which normally residents wouldn't be able to take. But if you own a business and you want to do it on your home, you're still able to do that.
Awesome. That's good to know. This sounds like a really awesome program, the adjustable block program. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of solar installation companies coming in. What's good questions that they would ask?
Some of the most important things to keep in mind are what kind of warranty they're providing. And not just on the panels, but on the inverters as well as the racking. Especially if you're going to be, on the ground, worry about possibly wind, or on a roof. Our warranties and everything like that are all 25 years, especially on the inverters, which it's very important to make sure you have a good warranty on your inverter. Of all the things that can go out, that's the thing controlling the electricity. And so, that's the thing you're going to see fail. So standard is about 10, 12 years. We make sure you get the full 25. Other things are making sure that the brands you're using are reputable brands. They've been around for their warranty period. They're going to be around in the future to actually live up to those warranties. And are they familiar with the utility you're on? Lots of utilities have net metering policies, but you have to know, exactly how to understand the net metering policy in order to set up the array correctly and make sure the offset, if we say it's 100%, it's actually going to be 100%. We got great engineers. They understand all that. And it's very important. So those are some of the questions you need to make sure you're asking, just to make sure that if they're using blue sky numbers and the projections are low as to what they're going to produce, they're not going to get the correct adjustable block payment that was guaranteed to them. So lots of different factors. You got to make sure you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you mentioned net metering. Can commercial entities take advantage of net metering along with residential?
Most definitely. So net metering has to do with your utility. And so they're going to allow you to net meter or not net meter. It doesn't really matter if you're a residential or a commercial entity. As long as you're on general billing, you're going to get a normal net metering policy through your utility, and the utility will decide that. Anything that would be demand billing on a large manufacturer, anything like that, the policies tend to change a little bit. And so that's where, our expertise in knowing how they change and how to equate for that, that's where our great engineers come in.
Sean asked, what happens if I add my solar in steps? He adds 10 kilowatts in May, and then he adds another 10 kilowatts in November. What would happen then?
It would all depend on what property was on first and foremost, because if he was going to do it through the same meter and was going to add two 10 kilowatt arrays in different steps, I'm sure they'd both be eligible for the adjustable block program. One would fall in a later block than the original one, so one would fall in block A, the second one would fall in block C. Having said that, if you're going to put them on the same meter, you would definitely complicate your own project and require much more engineering on the back end of the second 10 kilowatt array. If they're separate meters, separate locations, it wouldn't be an issue whatsoever. Though it would just be the second block would probably be not worth as much. So his return on investment wouldn't be as great.
Garrett asked, will systems installed at the end of 2017 and the beginning of 2018 be able to qualify for the adjustable block program?
Yeah, anything after July 1st would qualify for the current adjustable block coming up.
That's of 2017. So anything built before July 1st or after July 1st of 2017 is technically eligible for this program.
All right. Can you guys talk about what this looks like for residential, people who are installing solar on their home but don't own a business?
Yeah. So like if somebody's looking to do it on their residence, we're seeing, for one, a lot of residents can't build an array much larger than 10 kW. So say they build an array 10 kW or smaller, the adjustable block program is currently laid out where they get that payment once they go online. They get it all in one lump sum rather than stretched out over a 5-year period. So that's a bonus. For two, they can still take the 30% federal tax credit as well. So we're seeing, returns on investment north of 25 to 30%, plus payback periods between like 5 and 8 years at the most. So residents are definitely going to get a lot of benefits out of it. Plus, right now, if they want to take advantage of it, we have a financing program that lines up really well with it, where it's 0 down, 0 payments for 12 months. And that would allow you to save a whole year's worth of energy, plus obtain either a bulk sum adjustable block payment or 12 months worth of, 20% of that, 12 months worth of it, plus your 30% federal tax credit, and put it towards that loan as well once it requires a payment.
We've had a couple of people asking about specific utilities or co-ops and things like that. There's current litigation around the adjustable block program currently, so it's hard to comment on specific utilities, correct?
Yeah, so right now co-ops and municipalities are in litigation of whether or not they're going to qualify. So as of right now, it'd be hard to say for sure that they're going to be able to get any kind of blocks out of this or any kind of payments out of this.
We only have 2 weeks until we should know. We should be getting some of that information in though. So the best thing we could really do is if those folks have questions, if they can get the information over to us, we can reach out and we'll have some answers for them here real soon. So we can reach back out and kind of get the ball rolling a little bit and then get some definite answers after April 3rd here.
Does anybody else have any questions? Anything that they want answered? We're asking that question. There's one from Tom who's asking about 15-year payments and if he moves, what happens if he moves?
I'm sure that's all going to be made up into the adjustable block paperwork. I know in the past when they had prior programs such as SREC, as long as that system stays online at that location, it isn't an issue. But, like if say he wanted to take it with him and go to a different utility or something like that, obviously at that point, it's going to have to then be, have new interconnection paperwork filed and all that other good stuff. So I'm assuming, honestly, I don't even want to give an answer on that because we won't know until litigation is finalized. I'll just go there.
We have Jason asking if Iowa Wind and Solar does business in the St. Louis area.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Midwest.
We've had some good, response down in Missouri at some of the home shows. So, we've definitely talked to people down there, and I don't know if he's in St. Louis or East St. Louis. You'd be over in Illinois anyway. So, Illinois is great, and Missouri has some good incentives too. If he's interested, we can get some information from him. We can reach out to his utility, and we can go over all the incentives that they would have down there.
Yeah, that is a great answer, Jake. Thank you for that. If anyone else has any other questions, you can visit us online at illuminsolar.com. You can visit us on Facebook. Reach out to us if you have other questions or you want to know more about the Adjustable Block Program and how we can help you take advantage of that. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day. Thanks, Tom and Jake.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you. Everybody have a nice day.